Good afternoon. For anyone who is paying attention, meaning you would have had to have been watching these for a few days, which is unlikely. Nobody's watching these yet. I changed the channel name to ITS, which stands for, it is actually an acronym. It's not an abbreviation. There is a difference. An acronym actually makes a word, even if it's a new word, like for example, NASA, as opposed to an abbreviation like FBI, which is not a word. It's just 3 letters, an abbreviation. Anyways, my acronym here, ITS, is for the International Thrival Society. That's a project I'm working on. I just thought I would mention that because if anybody sees ITS and wonders, if anybody wonders what is this, I was going to say something else, but if anybody wonders what is this, it's the International Thrival Society. So today it's day number 12 of the 30-day series, video a day for 30 days. Day number 12, 12th video. I'm actually getting this one done a little bit earlier. I've got good energy today. I'm not maintaining any kind of a real structured schedule, but I'm getting more things done than normal. And I'm going to be taking a ride up to Home Depot to get some stuff for a couple of projects I'm in the middle of, and I just wanted to get this out of the way early instead of worrying about it. It is strange. It is hard for me to schedule my days because I have energy and enthusiasm in the morning, and I have energy and enthusiasm in the evening, and oftentimes I just bog down in the afternoon. I either run out of the energy or I run out of the enthusiasm, and a lot of times the only thing I could do is just some kind of grunt physical type of thing. I just can't get involved in anything creative, anything, for lack of a better word, administrative, anything that takes any kind of focus, concentration, thinking. So I tend to do a lot of stuff in the morning. When I'm doing a lot of stuff, I tend to do a lot of stuff in the morning and a lot of stuff in the evening and whatever in the afternoon. I thought I would get this out of the way so I have the evening to work on these projects that I'm going to buy stuff for. I just wrote down, I've just got a few lines here. Basically, it's almost like an outline, just some sketchy sentences, words basically I'm just going to extemporize. That's the way these videos go sometimes. I didn't spend any time on a script today because I was involved in other things, but then I thought at the last minute, before I take the ride to Home Depot, get this out of the way so you have the rest of the afternoon free and clear to do the more important things. I don't know. Maybe this is the more important thing. It needs to be done early in any event. I will put down below the link for the video I made the other day about a number of different projects that I could use help with, a business partnership. So I'm not going to go over all that stuff again, but there will be a link below. But there are some things I left out, things that are related to stuff I mentioned in there, but I didn't really get into this stuff. So I'll just get into it. Beyond everything that's in that link below, that video in that link below, scrapping. I've got a van, I've got a shop. We could scrap. I used to do a lot of that. Depending on how good of a day it is, any particular garbage haul day, It's not real time consuming. And all told, unless you're traveling far and wide, it's not real time consuming because they only pick up garbage on certain days. So there's that. Along with that, which is uh, basically, well, it's just all metals except for, of course, your precious metals, but there is circuit boards. You can break down circuit boards and get all the copper, silver, gold out of those, which would, of course, require either being able to get your hands on that kind of stuff or more likely just buying circuit boards. But we could do that. I've watched plenty of videos and it's not that hard. It's a truckload of material to get started, but it's mostly just stuff you can get at the hardware store. Plastic recycling, I already went over that in the other video, and I'll put the link to preciousplastic.com down there again, but it's preciousplastic.com. But aside from what they have to offer, which is basically taking scrap plastic, shredding it, and then making whatever out of it, whether it's extrusion or molding or whatever, there's that. But I'm trying to remember the name of the company. It's not a big deal, it'll come to me, but there is a company, they started out of New Zealand. They have a machine that actually crushes plastic into construction blocks, like cinder blocks. And they use that as building material in New Zealand. I'm pointing in that direction right now, although you can't tell, but it's either that way or it's that way. Depending on which way you want to go, you're going to get there either way. But yeah, I'm sure building codes here in the States would not allow it. But I do know there is at least one company here in the States, in California, and they're using these blocks to make retaining walls. So there is that. I know one of these machines would be a huge outlay of money, and by huge I mean we're starting at least in the tens of thousands of dollars. But I've also seen videos, and I definitely know you're not going to be able to use these for much here in the States at all, but it is feasible. They have constructed presses just using like sheet metal and a threaded rod and just a sheet metal plate in third world countries to make these blocks, just doing it by hand, making these blocks to make, well, huts, more or less, but they're making construction style blocks in third world countries with hand presses out of just garbage, basically. So that's something to look into. Also, there's a bunch of videos out there on how to turn plastic into gasoline, diesel, or oil. And the ones I've seen, the guys making diesel fuel, their setups are really simple. Basically, again, it's third world countries or less industrialized countries that are doing this. With the gas prices where they are now, it seems like it's not even worth it. But in the end, you're taking a free product. I mean, we're talking plastic you pick up out of the gutter in the street and turning it into diesel fuel. It's after spending the money on all the material you need for this process, everything is free except for your time. So there's that. Also, and I've done this by myself, and I've done this with another guy. It's easy to do. As with many things in life, the hardest part of this is just selling it once you've made it, but making furniture out of pallet wood. I've got a table saw, I've got every tool that we need to get started, and I've got shop space. Pallets are free. I'm in an industrial part of town here, so I can get free pallets all day long. And beyond selling it, the second hardest part of that is making the furniture is not that hard. I mean, once you have an idea, you just put it down on paper, figure out how big do I want it, put down the measurements and go to town. the second hardest part of making furniture out of pallet wood is actually getting the wood separated on that pallet. That can be quite hard. I've split a lot of wood trying to get it off in one piece, but it can be done. And you know, you split a piece of wood, well, it was free to begin with. You can always use it for something else. Anyways, I just thought I would go over all this stuff because I am looking for somebody in the Miami area to partner up with and start making money. And I'm thinking, given the very number of things that I put out there, I find somebody who's just a little more knowledgeable or as knowledgeable as I am about it. We could get started that day, be making money that week. Um, Even if we're not making money, we could get started that day. We could have stuff for sale the first week. And then it's just a matter of how good of a salesman are we? And we'll have to figure out that end of it. The fact is, I've got shop space, I've got all kinds of different skills, I've done all different kinds of things in life, and I've got a lot of interests, and I'd be willing to go any direction that I've thrown out there so far that anybody else wants to go, because it doesn't matter to me. I've got the time, I've got the space. Most of the stuff is free or very cheap for to just create a quick startup, just to get our just to hit the ground running, so to speak. I've got these for sale. Just well, I'm going to put a link. I've got a Facebook page for these, but I've got these for sale. And that's basically it. I gotta head out and get some supplies, but I would just like to say thank you for watching. And if you didn't watch, well, what's wrong with you, man? Talk to you tomorrow.